जय श्री माता जी। हम सभी श्री माता जी के श्री चरणों में प्रणाम करके अपनी कुंडलिनी उठाकर बंधन लेंगे। We will all bow down at the lotus feet of Shri Mata Ji, raise our kundalini and put ourselves in bandhan. इसी ध्यान की स्थिति में अब हम सब श्री माता जी की अमृत वाणी को सुनेंगे. In this meditative state, let us now listen to Shri Mataji's Amrit Vani.
Shri Rama, who is the deity of maryadas, of boundaries, how a human being must live. All his life, he never showed any special interest in giving realization to people. But, of course, he destroyed Ravana and he destroyed many Rakshasas. But, main message of his life is a life of a dedicated husband who loved his wife very much, and a man who sacrificed his beloved for the sake of his being a good king. But just the other way around, you find in this country where we think love is great, here I have known of many ministers whose wives rule the family. Sacrifice is not there. On the contrary, the wives are so important that they can make the husbands just sit in the corner. And nobody says anything about it. But I have also known even worse cases where the whole country is sold in the name of their children. It is such a serious thing. We do not understand that these children are not something that are going to carry your name, but what is going to carry your name is your own worth, is your own style, is in your own character and your own leadership. Nobody is going to be bothered who is the one who is your son or who is your daughter or who is who. So those people who try such things to think that their children and their children or children are so important, then they should realize that it was Shri Rama who sacrificed his beloved when she was pregnant, and he led a life of an ascetic, remembering his wife. This sacrifice was too much for Shri Ram because he really loved her, really could not exist without her. It was too much. And then at a time when it comes to Sita also left him. And she left him in her own grace and in her own grandeur. She didn't allow him to touch his body and she just disappeared like a woman has to do. While in the modern times it is not so. If the husband has harmed you, then the woman will go to the courts, she'll put him in the jail, and she will see that he's punished nicely. Why? Because he was busy with other women. Now what I'm saying, if you think that you love your husband and that's why you are angry, that he should have nothing to do with other women, why should you put him in the jail? Why should you trouble him and torture him? So we have to realize that husband and wife relationship is extremely important for Saj Yogis. You are the complements of each other. If the relationship is not alright, Saj Yoga does not work out. It is not that a woman becomes so dominant, but it is the complement, the love between the two, the beauty of love. And the understanding, you need not even smile at your husband, you need not even, when he is going, you see in England I have seen, or anywhere else I have seen, people will be all the time kissing each other and doing all kinds of gestures to show that they love. And if you ask them where are you going, even on escalator you will find them like that. And if you ask them where are they going, they will say that just now we are going for a divorce case. The show is not it, but from the heart you must feel that oneness with your husband. And that love for him, and the husband must feel that love, and it's the only relationship, it's the only belief which is the most beautiful. The relationship with your children you will understand when they will learn. With your daughters you will understand when they are married. With your parents also when they are grown up. You are grown up, you have your wife, you will find there will be you will find their conceit coming up. But the relationship with your wife is the most private and the most treasured relationship. And that's why people have sung so many poems about it and so many things. In Indian language, we have a certain law about even writing. Whatever is not hitakari is not accepted because it is called as sahitya. Sahitya means saha hita. The one which gives you hita to your atma is the only sahitya. The literature is sahitya. Whichever is not literature, is trash. And in Sanskrit language, Shringara, which is not with your wife, is not a Shringara, is Ashlila. It has to be with your wife or to whom you are engaged to. And it is such a pure thing. It's such a pure thing. And if people can understand how to enjoy that purity, they will become themselves pure and they will have the best essence of it. You see, when it comes to buying something, we want pure silk, we want pure diamond, we want pure gold. But when it comes to our love, we want to have all kinds of mixed up impurities, perversions, and then we say, oh, I got tired. I cannot enjoy. Because it's not pure. The purity of that relationship must be enjoyed. In Sahaja Yoga, we don't believe in sannyasa, as I told you. And there should be no sannyasa now. Because there are many great souls who want to be born on this earth, and we have to make arrangements for them. We have to have people who are happily married, who respect each other, love each other, so that the great saints can be born here. In this relation, I would say a very interesting talk that I had with the BBC fellow who came to interview me. And he was, as usual, they are very sarcastic and they think they are very smart. They did not know they were meeting a smarter person. First he said to me that how is it you are here and doing so much for us, but why don't you go and help Indians who are so poor? I said, I'm sorry sir, I'm in England and I'm on your soil. I shouldn't say this, it's not gracious for me to say, but you have asked such a question, I must answer it. With full apologies, I must say, who is responsible for the poverty of India? And he kept quiet. Then he came out with second question. You see, very smart fellow. He said that, but what do you think of the population problem of India? We are so much worried about it. Why don't you look after the population problem of your India? Of course, I am in England. I would never have been there. I am only there because my husband is there. But I said, really, I am sorry that this is in India. What to do? There is no solution for it. He said, are we also responsible for that? I said, I am sorry to say, very much so. He said, how are we responsible for your population problem? I said, the trouble is, you see, the people who are taking birth have to decide. Who will take birth in this England? The two children every week are killed by the parents for nothing at all, where the children are legal, everything. Which foolish man will take birth here? Except for people who are of a very high grade spirituality, who don't bother about these things, or only the Rakshasas who will come and hit their parents. And that's what they are doing today. They are treating you well, the way you are parents, and you don't know what to do with them. And this is what it is, I have to tell you, that unless and until we really respect our wives and give them proper attention and proper help, the discipline of this country is not going to improve. It is she who disciplines the children. It is important to give her a complete sense of security. And the conceit of man has to go away. That he thinks is very important is not. It is both. If they are together, then the whole unit is important. You can't live with one eye. You have to have both eyes. If one eye thinks is more important, that means one eye should disappear to see what happens without. After this, we come to another center which is extremely important in Sahaja Yoga, called as Vishuddhi Chakra, which is placed behind this part. Now, it is not an exact position in every human being. It's little lower, higher. So one should not say that this is at this point. Because we have to understand this, I'm talking about the living process. You can put dead things at exact position at exact date. But can you say that the tree will grow in this form? Can you say before the trees grow? It will take its own form. Can you say the roots will grow like that? Can you say exactly so many flowers will be there, or exactly so many flowers will become fruits? You cannot say. Can you say at this time, at this hour, at this moment, the flower is going to become the fruit? So in the same way, you cannot say exactly about Sahaja Yoga that where is this particular center is placed. It is about that. You have to feel it, the vibrations, and you can make it out that in some person it's slightly higher, in some person it is low. But why it is so important is this center is that this denotes our real evolution into a human being. When the man raised his head up like that, this center developed into us, by which we develop this ego and superego within us. How this has happened is another big lecture, for which I would request you to read something on Advent or something like that, where it is a little bit explained. How the awareness of man, when he raised his head like this, that his ego started developing, and when he raised it like that, it started dominating its superego or its mana. This development within human beings is so important because at this time here resides Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna is Sampurna. It's called as 16-petaled Sampurna, complete incarnation. And 16 petals are expressed as 16 subplexuses in cervical plexus. The cervical plexus looks after the cross side of the face and the nose and the eyes and the ears and the throat. And but the subtler side of this center is very important, which is the left side, is the subconscious side. And in the left side is the person who feels very guilty, or a person who has not proper understanding of pure relationships of other women or other men. Such a person develops this in his left side. Now, one may say that what's wrong in all these perverted relationships with others and what goes wrong with us? You see, in the West especially, people believe that you can have any kind of relationship with anyone. No age, nothing, and they quite boast of it. I mean, it's such a funny thing sometimes. When I first went there, I had no idea that they were that extent they were mad. Because the first thing in those days when I reached there was, the first thing on the page was love letter by an 80-year-old lady to an 18-year-old boy. And it was written, his love letter was there. And this love letter became such a headache to me. I could not understand how could these people think of such horrible things and write such letters and publish them in the papers. And this kind of madness, if you do not have the sense of purity about the relationship with others, you develop this left vishuddhi. With the left vishuddhi, you develop lots of problems. With your tobacco and the smoking, also you develop sometimes left vishuddhi and also right vishuddhi. When left vishuddhi is developed too much, then you will find a man when he speaks, he stammers, his face is always going into contortions, his body is doing like this, noses. You will find all the Americans do like that. Like this, they will be moving, there will be nervousness on the face, and they would not be normal people. The thing is that left vishuddhi is in a problem. As we say, the peshani, this forehead, is absolutely wrinkled up, and they have big furrows at the very young age. Because I was amazed that some woman who was only 30 years of age, half of my age, had such furrows, and I thought she was an old lady. I was very respectful to her. I got up, gave her my seat and all that, and I was standing up. And after some time, she said, "Thank you very much, very kind of you," and all that. And she asked me, somehow I asked about her doing. She said, "I'm still studying, doing PhD." I said, "What? Still studying? What's your age?" She says, 30. I said, "Really? Will you please get up? I have to sit down." I mean, there the criteria of health is to be just like mosquitoes. You see, the trouble is they have to be like mosquitoes. And if as it is, they must remain very thin, just like as we call in Hindi, haddi marka. And on top of that, they'll wear high heels, you see, and walk just like what you call like spiders, you see, from here to there, and you don't know where they'll put their foot onto you. And that is regarded as a beauty there. And so surprising that at a very young age they start looking so very old that this mistake can be done by many of us. Moreover, another problem comes of left vishuddhi when people do not have proper sense of womanhood and manhood. It's very common in England, and other countries, Western countries like America is much worse. You cannot make out a man from a woman. You see, the women dress up just like horses. They walk like horses. The whole thing is so funny that, you see, this is a big problem for us, how to address. And sometimes it happens like this, that in a meeting, I forget all the time that this is a man. I always go and say she, then he, she. Then they say, no, this is a man. I remember then this is a man. And it's such a problem. One day we were going by car, my husband and myself, we asked ourselves, do you think the person who is going in the other car is a man or a woman? I said, no. Then our car went ahead. Still we looked back. He said, I can't say. I said, I can't say. So I asked our driver, who is an Englishman. He looked back, he said, madam, we are sorry. I am also sorry, I am a foreigner. I don't know. So this kind of perverted attitude, to behave like this. You see, you are a man, behave like a man. If you are a woman, behave like a woman. If you start behaving like a man, or a woman behaving like a man, and a man behaving like a woman, you see, you must understand your muscles are made the way you are. For example, a man can do a lot of work which women cannot do. There is no need to be like Russian women who are doing what you call road rollers they are driving or whatever it is. You see, they say that Russian women can do this. But I tell you, Russians, I do not want to say much, but the only thing I know, that when they shake hands, you know, all your hand goes out. For love. That's all I know. I know from the shake hands. You see, we have sometimes to shake hands with many people. And when Australians also are quite capable. When Australians shake your hands, you can be sure that at least, if not much, but at least some ounces are lost. Now, this is the thing, is that men have to be men and women have to be women. When the women become very arrogant and become very aggressive, then men also, to overpower them, become even more. And a sort of a competition starts, and then they first become like donkeys, then become like horses, then become like mares, then become like lions, then tigers, and you get lost among them. You don't know what's the matter. You see any film, anything, you find nothing but fighting going on between husband and wife. As if they are married just to fight. They had no place to fight, so they are married. All the time this kind of a struggle and this kind of a competition that goes about gives you a very bad vishuddhi. And that if men are smoking, what's wrong if we smoke? What's wrong? This is a very common thing. And now another madness is the liberation of women has started. God knows what is going to happen to these women, what sort of left vishuddhi they'll be having. They'll be having a head just like this. They might have a cancer in this part, maybe, and they might have a trouble because they are doing something so unnatural which is not suitable. It's possible also in our Indian life we can get cancer of our left vishuddhi. How do you get cancer of the left vishuddhi in Indian life? Is by taking the mantras, by taking the name of God for hours together. For example, if you start singing the song, is all right. But if you go on saying Ram, 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 morning till evening, you might develop a cancer. I had a patient who came to see me who had a cancer of the left side. When I asked him, what do you do? How did you get this? He told me that he is working for a firm which supplies people to chant God's name. I said, what? He said, yes, there is a firm which has people trained how to chant God's name, and they are supplied to all the Marwadis. Whenever they have a program, they put up these people there who go on chanting this name for hours together. Kitab hai kya? They go on chanting this name all the time, and this chanting has created a problem for that man, because he had a job, just Ram, 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 I don't know, whatever it is, and they sit down there and they go on chanting these, the money is paid for them. And also, you see, in this country we have all funny types of institution. It's nice to laugh at the Western people, but if you see ourselves, you'll be amazed that we have people here in this country who go for crying also. If somebody is dead and there are few people to cry, they have people on hire to cry. And they cry so loudly, I mean, they have given us special, I did not know, but then we had a friend who was our neighbor, and he said the best crying people are in this particular agency. And if you call them, they'll be very good. Then also we have people who are all the time shouting slogans. You see, this country is known for slogans. You won't find better sloganish people than Indians are. And the slogans they have is such a business. They make business out of, that's typically Indian, is to make business out of everything. So the slogan now, all right, we'll supply slogan people. You want these slogans? All right, we'll give you. Now, in Delhi, perhaps you do not know, I know this because I was with Lal Bahadur Shastri, with my husband, and I have seen this, that one day people came to shout for something with the slogans. You see, near his place there was a roundabout, and where people came and started shouting slogans. And when they started shouting slogans, they were supposed to represent a particular party. And they had other banners in their hands, they had other caps, and they were shouting something else, while they were supposed to represent something. So people asked him, are you shouting for them? We have paid you for this. Why are you shouting for our opposite party? So they said that no, must be a mistake, you see. They just informed us this, and we have sets of caps and sets of slogans and sets of banners. So they gave us this, we came here, what to do now? Whatever they have given, now you go and change it and we'll start shouting for another one. So all this kind of shouting, too much talking or keeping quiet unnecessarily, that is very common in India to talk. We talk bit too much, and when we talk too much also we can catch on the right Vishuddhi very badly. While in England they won't talk much, they just don't talk, you see. They just stare at you with your eyes, you see, and you can be quite frightened the way they look at you. They don't believe in talking much, but they believe in drinking much more. And I have seen that the people do not realize what a strain it is for your throat to talk. Actually, I have seen it myself. I have to talk such a lot every day. I mean, if there is one center which really gives me trouble is my throat. Because I have to speak unless and until I speak, people are not very happy. For example, today was one day I never wanted to speak. You know what's the matter with me, because I'm so full of vibrations, I didn't want to speak. But without speech, Indians won't be happy. I thought I better speak. And same with other people. They would love to hear me talk. And when we do that, we catch on our Vishuddhi, we have problems on our Vishuddhi, and it's rather difficult to cure a throat where this strain is there of talk. All our leaders have to do the same, and we have so many leaders that I think we can patent some sort of a medicine for their over talking. Now, after that, we have a very, very important center here, of which you all know is Agya Chakra. And this center is very important because this center is placed between the pituitary and the pineal body. Is a very subtle center. And this center controls both your ego and superego, so that it controls your thought. A person whose this center is out of gear loses power over his thoughts. A person who is possessed will be all the time talking. He cannot stop. I have seen in Paris, when you get into a bus, you see, some old people will come up and they'll be talking all the time. They are all the time talking. I asked, what are they talking? So my disciple told me there, Marie, she said, Mother, they are talking about the last war. I said, what? Yes. And I said, people don't say anything. At least in Indian buses, I have not seen. Every bus stop, there are 3 or 4 people coming and talking loudly, and they are regarded as mad people. They get down, again they start talking. This kind of a disease can come in a person who is hit by a possession on the right or on the left hand side, but is more with the Agya. If you are hit at the back, it's a possession from outside. But if you are hit in the front, it is a possession from inside, it's auto-hypnosis. For a man who is egoistical, you might get a very bad Agya here. And such a bad Agya, that's like a balloon, it grows, and you feel you should be away from that person as soon as possible. There are people who develop their ego with all kinds of misidentification. For example, if somebody gets a promotion, or if he gets little more money than others, or has a little better life than the others, he develops this special type of a ego. Ego-oriented people are normally grow taller, and super-ego people become dwarfs. But ego-oriented people also have a special type of a nose, you see, very straight nose, if they are born with the ego. Now for such people it is important to see their ego and watch it and laugh at it. Make a fun out of it, and then only they can get rid of it. After realization, ego starts troubling you. You can feel the pain of ego here. Then you come to me, Mother, I'm catching on my right Agya. Please take it away. Please take it away. Ego is more a cultural problem also. In a culture where it is competition and is very struggling, and all the suggestions come to you that you have to stand first, you have to be a unique personality, you start developing your ego because your action line moves very fast. By that Kriya Shakti, you create ego within. People pamper you that by this your ego will be alright, but you do not know. They say, oh, you look very nice. It's pampering. It's the pampering of your ego from your childhood. The whole society works it out, by which you think, oh, I must be a unique person, I should be something special, I should be something great. Any uniqueness is against God's laws. It's malignancy. Such a cell can become malignant. He will start eating up all. What happened to Hitler was nothing, but he became malignant. He could not see through how he was destroying others. The thing is, when you have ego, you destroy others, you are not harmed, and you cannot see it. The people who have superego or mana, or what we call the possessions of the left side, such people do not destroy others, but they are destroyed themselves. So the ego in front and ego at the back is only felt after realization and can only be corrected after realization. The back ego you might feel as madness or lunacy or some sort of a pain in the body. The whole body gets pain, it moves here, it comes here, it goes there. It's definitely a possession. But the right ego, very few people are aware of it because it doesn't give trouble to you, it troubles others. Now this is also a curse of, I would say, so-called advancement and development and sophistication. It's a curse of that. So if you go to the right too much, you develop your ego, you go too much to the left, you develop your superego. The best thing is for you to be in dharma, to be in the center, to be moderate with yourself. Don't try to show off. Do not think you have to be unique. You need not. Who is bothered about you? It is you who should respect yourself. It's not the others. If supposing you have a big car or anything, nobody respects you. On the contrary, they must be saying this must be a black marketeer who has got a big car. But ego can develop in a very subtle way when people talk of their comforts. When we talk of our comforts, we always say that we must have our comforts. We must be comfortable. This is a very, very subtle way and a secret way we develop our ego. Bernard Shaw was saying that after all, what is the difference between me and an ordinary coolie, an ordinary laborer? It's just the same. Why should I have more comfort and he should have less comfort? Of course, one can understand also that a man who is doing work as a laborer does not have to use his brain too much. So he thinks he can put up with little exertion, while the man who is sitting on the chair is not used to the exertions, or you can say the hard way of life, so he finds it difficult. But it is such a vicious circle that when you do this brain activity, you develop your ego, then you want more comfort, and then you want to do more mental activity, then you want more comfort, and it's a very vicious circle. When you try to break through with that, I must say the Western young people are doing it because they have accepted hippism. Now hippism is a reaction of that ego. They said, no, we live in a very Spartan way. We want to have uncomfortable, we must tough it out. This is a very good idea. But when they are doing it, they have taken to another thing, horrible thing like drugs, to go to superego. When you get your realization, you start seeing this ego so clearly, ego, superego, both so clearly, and you know how to take them out. You know how to balance yourself, how to reduce the pressure of ego or superego, and you know how to establish your attention in the limbic area. Now the last of all is the limbic area. I must tell you that this very subtle center is governed by Lord Jesus Christ. Lord beyond is the limbic area, is the area which is the kingdom of God within us. Here when you enter, you have no thoughts. You are without thoughts. But still the Kundalini has to pierce, you have to be born again. In the limbic area, all the 7 centers are there. I mean, there are so many centers we have got that all the brain cells can be called as centers. But especially these 7 centers can be easily located in your limbic area. Now you have seen that when you are realized, even if you put your fingers into your ears, you can hear the minutest of notes and music because you start hearing through this. Limbic area is a very important thing, but I think the medical science doesn't know much about it. After realization, you know the Sahasrara, what it is, how it works out, and how the deity at Sahasrara gives you realization, how it works it out. It's a important thing that you must get realization before I talk to you about Sahasrara. In all the ancient books, nothing has been written about Sahasrara. Nobody has written anything much about, except that it has this color, there are many petals, but not much has been described about Sahasrara because it is left to my lot to explain to you what Sahasrara is. These are all the centers we have tried to cover in a very short time, whatever it is in a very fast way I should say, but to digest it, you must get the book we have got, Advent and other books, go through it, read it, understand it. It's a regular knowledge, it's the absolute knowledge which you should have. Now, tomorrow is a program है अपना? Tomorrow we have a program here. And that's very important because this I have told you what we have got, what are the centers are, how the Kundalini is. Tomorrow I will tell you what is to be done after realization. It's very important. You must all come here and get your realization established. We are going to work more on realization than on all this knowledge. You see, you being all intellectuals, you always want to know the engineering of it. But the engineering is not so important as the happening. You see, I may tell you the whole engineering about electricity and all that, but if there is no light here, it has no meaning. So one has to realize that the engineering is a headache without the light. It's better to know that you are the spirit. Tomorrow, for a short time, I'll tell you what is the spirit, and then I will tell you what is to be done after realization. May God bless you all. Thank you for waiting for me. You may help me more by using your right hand to give yourself a balance. Put your left hand towards
अब हम श्री माता जी की आरती करेंगे. We will now offer आरती to श्री माता जी. सबको दुआ देना माँ, सबको दुआ देना. जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी. दिल में सदा रहना माँ, सबको दुआ देना. सबको दुआ देना माँ, सबको दुआ देना. जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी. दिल में सदा रहना माँ, सबको दुआ देना. जग में संकट कारण कितने दिए अवतार माँ, कितने दिए अवतार. विश्व में तेरी महिमा, विश्व में तेरी महिमा. तू गंगा यमुना माँ, सबको दुआ देना. सबको दुआ देना माँ, सबको दुआ देना. जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी. दिल में सदा रहना माँ, सबको दुआ देना. जो भी शरण में आया सुख ही मिला उसको माँ, सुख ही मिला उसको. बैठ के दिल में ओ माँ, बैठ के दिल में ओ माँ. लौट के ना जाना माँ, सबको दुआ देना. सबको दुआ देना माँ, सबको दुआ देना. जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता श्री माता जी, आपका कोटि कोटि धन्यवाद माँ कि आपने हमें आपके श्री चरणों की आराधना करने का ये अवसर प्रदान किया। थैंक यू श्री माता जी फॉर गिविंग अस दिस चांस टू वर्शिप योर होली लोटस फीट। जय श्री माता जी। धम